We could call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Here.
Giovanini,
Here.
Eckhoff, Callis,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Cowser, Bradshaw, here, Cranford,
Here.
Howard, here, Willie.
Here.
Thank you. We only have a couple items on the consent agenda. We've had a chance to peruse those. Take a motion
I
to,
move that we accept the consent agenda.
motion by John,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Howard. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw, yes, Cranford,
Yes.
Howard, yes, Willie.
Yes.
Okay, first up on the regular agenda is a resolution, annual resolution, I would say, on the library building and maintenance program.
Yes,
Jim?
under 3.1 of the Illinois Library Act outlines the procedure for an additional .02 tax on the EAV of the property within the corporate limits. This is an annual request from the library to add this, and it is for building and building maintenance. And in the budget, we had budgeted $20,000 for this. And the resolution is the step necessary for this additional tax.
As I said, it's an annual event, so any questions? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve this.
That's a move.
I'll second.
Motion by Bill Callis, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw, yes, Cranford,
Yes.
Howard, yes, Willie,
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Very good. Item B is the Lee Miller Garage setback variance.
David, you want to handle that?
Sure. Yeah, Mr. Miller is requesting a variance to allow him to add a 32 by 40 garage in the existing structure in 1302 North Main Street. District regulations require setback from adjacent residential. He's requesting an 18-foot setback in lieu of the 50.
And was there a meeting held at the zoning board? It's all approved. Any
No.
setbacks or anything?
Yeah, the ordinance incorporates the requirement that the zoning board suggested that we record this ordinance and state it's only for personal use and can't be used in the future for any commercial or business use since the property is zoned M1. So nobody can convert it to a business because it's going to be so close to a residence.
There is other manufacturing there and right there, his neighbors. I mean, is,
There is other manufacturing in the area. I don't know on these specific neighbors necessarily. The reason for the larger than normal 50-foot setback is the difference of the intensity of use in an M1 district versus residential district. So they generally require a little further setback from residential, but between other businesses, they can be very close.
And of course, all the residents were given due notice and there are no objections. So, any other questions? If not, we'll need a motion to approve the variance.
I will.
So moved by Scott, seconded
second.
by Jason Lee. Roll call, please.
Callis,
yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw, yes, Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
No.
Willie,
No.
Barr,
No.
Giovanini.
No.
5-4.
4-4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You think?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Doesn't happen very often, Bill, but guess what?
You get to vote.
Okay, thank you. I would vote yes. Okay. Gosh, that's fun. I hadn't done that yet. I waited, I went 3 times trying to get a tie vote for Bob Russell to vote. He only got to do it once in his 10 years, so.
Did you ever hear the story about Jimmy Lestos? What he did?
No.
He was one of the councilmen that had to vote, and it was tied at that point. So he said, I'll flip a coin, and he did.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't go over real well.
Yeah,
think we were still
I remember that
upstairs.
story.
Pardon?
Weren't we still across the street?
I don't know about
Yes.
that. I just, Ronnie and Jimmy always just tell me the story,
That's
so,
a true story.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, moving on, though. Item C, the bridge special use district for the cell tower.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
handle this.
please.
As most of you remember, the city's entered into a lease with Vertical Bridge, which actually is an agent and contractor for T-Mobile. T-Mobile was the original contact, but they don't do building themselves, so they contract with Vertical Bridge to build a cell tower. And in anticipation of this, you've also approved zoning to permit a cell tower in the state residential zoning district, which this is. And they now have done their prerequisites, verified the site and stuff, and we're ready to ask for the actual special use permit. So this ordinance actually grants a special use permit to Vertical Bridge to allow them to construct a cell tower on the city garage property at the approximate location shown on the plat on the reverse of the ordinance. So it's been confirmed that it doesn't interfere with any city use of the property, and because the law requires that these folks make that tower available to other people, obviously, to other users, obviously for financing, it's eliminates the plethora of other towers being built nearby. This one tower will hold a lot of antennas. And it's a standalone, all the wiring up inside of a tube, it sounds like, probably looking very similar to what a wind tower turbine would look like. And there's no guy wires or anything, so that's what they represented at the meeting. I think, did you say 165 height? 155, but then there's a lightning rod for another 10 feet. He said the lightning rod's very fine, probably won't even be visible from the ground, but technically you've got another 10 foot on top of that for a lightning rod. So this ordinance would approve that special use. There weren't any recommended conditions, so the ordinance doesn't include any conditions. If any of the council members want to see some specific conditions on that, we can certainly add those. The only conditions are the usual. They have to conform with all the other ordinances and the building codes.
Any questions for Alan?
Is that the same area they were looking at, solar
It's the same site of property, but the solar was quite a bit further south.
further, yes.
It was on the south end. This is middle north end, between kind of the garage and the ball diamond.
Yeah, if you were to just keep going east on Water Street, you would go right through that fence, and that's straight back behind that garage is where it would be.
And this Vertical Bridge is a very big reputable company, and our dealings with them on the lease and everything else have been very professional. So I don't have any doubts they'll do a good job.
They are an American company.
I can't tell you that for sure. I mean, they're home in America. I can't tell you there's no foreign interest in it. I haven't researched them that well.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 23-017.
Motion by Jamie, seconded by
I'll second.
Mike Barr. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, we have an agreement between the Heritage Corridor and the City of Pontiac. Liz?
I'll start with this one,
Oh.
and then Liz can take over when I tell you the wrong information. A while back, we applied for a mural grant through the Heritage Corridor Destinations Convention and Visitors Bureau. They did receive funding from DCEO and notified us in May that one of the projects they selected was a mural project of ours. And part of that requirement is laid out in this memorandum of understanding, which is the first part. In this grant, we had to abide by their rules, which basically said you would take bids if it was over $10,000, which we did not have to do because we only have one local artist vendor in town who is capable of this project. So we were okay in that, and so our grant we entered into is $25,000 would be for Diaz to create a mural, and we have until the end of July to have those final drawings or designs done, and then the closeout of the grant would be at the end of August. This MOU gets us enter into agreement with us in the Heritage Corridor Convention and Visitors Bureau, basically to abide by those rules. They would administer the grant. There's three financial impacts of this grant. The first one being the $25,000, which would be going the Heritage Corridor Destinations, HCD, how they're called, would pay the $25,000 to Diaz. Then there's $1,500 that the city would pay to the Heritage Corridor Destinations to administer the grant. And initially, Diaz was going to do the installation, but they did not want to do that. So the city, we then got together and decided we would do the installation. And we put together those figures, and that would be $2,790 that would come to the city for the installation, bringing that total of money out to $27,790, and then $1,500 would go back to the corridor. So this MOU just outlines that aspect, and then the next part of it is item E. I guess we can discuss that after this one. So this is all a lead up grant to the 100th anniversary of Route 66 coming up in a few years. I think 1.6 million was the total that Heritage Corridor got. So, and actually we were mildly surprised that we got this grant after just getting the EV station grants from the same group. So,
Liz, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this grant, or the mural itself. It's been a while since we've added to our public art, and I'm excited that we're able to do this locally, and it's in a new location, and it's celebrating 100 years of travel on Route 66, so I think it's a very appropriate topic, so yeah.
You want to detail where the location is?
Yeah, well,
Sure.
as of right now, everything is planned to be up on the second floor of, right above where the restrooms are in the old visitor center. So if we walk out here and look up, that's where it'd be, on Bill Bertram's building.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. There's kind of a ghost mural there now that will still be there eventually,
Yeah.
100 years from now, but it'll be covered for a long time.
yeah, these will be panels.
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
panels, so it won't damage that.
Yeah. All right. Any questions for,
I'd make a motion
yep, please.
to approve.
Motion by Mike Barr, seconded by John Willie, to approve this agreement between us and the Heritage Corridor. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Thank you. We've approved getting the grant. We have to agree to have the art done, so.
Yeah, the next one, these are the separate pages that I gave at your stations. The next one is agreement between the city and Diaz Sign Art. This outlines the responsibilities that they will have. It'll be a mural with 5 8x8 panels depicting the past, present, and future of automotive travel in 66. They'll receive $25,000 payment from HCCVB. 50% of that due by June 30th and the remainder by August 30th. And we have secured a plan for installation of the mural. In addition, Diaz will provide a final sketch before July 21st, and will provide all materials and paint for the mural, including installation and hardware. This grant does not cover upkeep of the mural, and if we want to, eventually we can enter into a contract or handle upkeep of the mural at some time in the future. And it also gives Diaz the ability to retain promotional rights for creating a mural for their work. And you'll notice on this page is already signed by Robert Navarro from the CVB, and does not have a line on there. We need to add a line on there for the mayor to sign as well. So
And you probably ought to add a final date he'll provide the artwork. So we've got to have it done by September 30th. If August 30th is the date, it doesn't say he'll have the finalized mural to us by August 30th.
right, and they have to give us the final sketch before July 21st, and they're
The agreement doesn't provide a deadline for us to give them to give us the actual panels.
okay. I understand what you're saying.
I believe that in the MOU, there's a date of September.
Well, that's the date to get them installed. It has to be all completed by then. What date do they have to get them to us? We're paying them the balance by August 30th, so they're supposed to get the mural.
We're not paying them the balance.
I mean,
though.
they are.
Yeah.
They're getting paid by August 30th. Is that when they're supposed to be done?
They don't have to be done by that date. They just have to get paid by. This is one of those,
Yeah.
kind of like the EV station was, where they have to get their money before the installation is done. But we can add in a date for delivery of the
Maybe
murals.
September 15th, give you a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I tell you, it may be best then to authorize the mayor to sign this after we get back and get a hard date from Diaz on when they can deliver it. The CVB really just wants the terms of the payments to be done on time, and kind of left that back end open for us because they thought that maybe setting a date on when, because nobody knows how busy these artists can be, on when it would get done. So we'll come up with a date, and as long as mayor has the authorization, then he'll sign it at that
As long as
point.
it's up by September 30th, we fulfilled our obligation.
Yes.
Okay. But it's going to be a fine attraction, and it certainly will enhance what's going to be coming up in a couple of years as a major thoroughfare for Route 66. So we're all looking forward to it. So with that, we need a motion to approve our tentative agreement.
With that amendment, I would make a motion.
I agree.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Barb. Roll call, please.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Thank you. Taylor, we need a splash pad update.
I'm gonna start this one too. In this, I want to give you a splash pad update to the council and to the public on what occurred and kind of a timeline of what occurred with the incident we had down there. Now it's been a couple weeks, but in essence, what happened was we've had some power issues going on down there that we have not been able to completely track down. And we've had a number of different people down there checking electronic components, checking electricity, and checking mechanical equipment down there. And what we noticed one day was that the chlorine level seemed to be like it had used too much. And we did a lot of testing, and we had William Masters from Bloomington come in. And what we do know is that there's a control panel down there that controls the power that goes to all the pumps. So what makes all the little things squirt on their times. That had some problems. So we had that jumped bypass so we could get the park running. So at that week it was like in the 90s, so it was really hot. And they were able to get that going. But in the meantime, when the whole thing was put back together, there are two cords that control the release of hydrochloric acid and the release of chlorine. Hydrochloric acid is used in swimming pools to bring the pH level down. Chlorine is used to sanitize. And so what happened was those cords were switched. And so when the tank sensors were asking for chlorine, it was getting hydrochloric acid. And so in essence, what happened is we had the reverse of what we had the first time, where we had too much chlorine going out, is we had way too much hydrochloric acid go in. And so Taylor went down there and he checked that morning. The splash pad had opened, and he checked the levels and saw that the pH was too low. So human failures definitely had happened by the switch of those two cords, and we probably should have been checking that before we opened. In the 7 years that it's been open, there's never been a chemical issue down there. So what we did was immediately shut it down, notified the people that were there of what happened, and advised them to get their kids out of wet clothes and get them cleaned off. We put out as information through as many channels as we could get to over our emergency Nixle, and we put them out over our social media for anyone who had been there. The splash pad had been open for 2 hours for them to check their children who had been in the water, and seek medical attention if necessary. We let the hospital know what happened down there so they would know how to treat people if they came in. And I think so far in the end, we asked people to call us and let us know if they were there. And we had 5 people call us and say that they had children who were there who had some irritation. A couple went to the doctor's office or to prompt care, and one at least we know received some burn cream for like a 1st-degree burn. And then we had some people who called us and said that their kids were there all the time and they had no symptoms. And then a couple others said they had some really minor symptoms that they were going to treat themselves. So after that took place, we met and we established some protocols that, as far as deficiencies that happen, well, first of all, we're recording every hour the pH levels and the HCl levels on a log down in there, and the staff has been trained to go down there and check. It's on a panel. It reads out what the levels are, and to also look at the physical tanks that are there that you can see, and they have markings on where the levels are, because it really shouldn't use all that much. So we fixed that part. We have that in place. In addition to that, a bunch of labels have been placed down there on what goes where. And on top of that, we've also established a protocol that if there is a malfunction, we start with our maintenance, and our maintenance then, if we need components, our maintenance will contact someone for components and we'll supervise over that. If it's electronic, or if it's mechanical, or if it's electricity, our maintenance is the one that everything goes through, because what the failure we had was there was too many people down there that did their own thing on different times without one person being there to know exactly what all had taken place. So as of right now, the splash pad has been operating now for over a week. without any issues, other than it still jumped past that control box that makes everything squirt on intermittent times. So we're still trying to track that down, and we're working with trying to work with the company that installed it for them to get out here and take a look and see if there's some wiring issue or if it's actually a problem with, wiring from a power source under the ground or however it gets there to the actual equipment itself. But we wanted everyone to know exactly what all went down out there and what we've done since then.
Did that company do the installation?
Masters did the electricity.
Masters did the electricity, and I don't remember.
Raindrop is the company that does all the features and coordination of everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, anything to say?
Jim, he hit it right on the head. It was a combination of basically everything that could go wrong went wrong, and we learned a lot from this. And as a parent, this is the thing that I explained to, I called every single one of the parents that contacted us personally and even visited the one. And, you want to make sure that, you're going to places that are safe. And, especially with your kids, there's a lot of protective people. And I totally understand that because, like I said, as a parent, this is the last thing you ever want to happen. And, it ended up happening. And, it wasn't intentional. It was, a lot of different things, like I said, that went wrong. And we've put a lot of new, like Jim mentioned, policies and protocols in place where even above IDPH standards and what we're supposed to be doing, we've implemented those and, just to make sure that this never happens again and it won't happen again. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, of course, our primary concern is the citizens and
Right.
their well-being and the safety of all the kids that are in there. So we're confident that we're in good shape now and that we're not going to have any more issues to speak of. But things happen. It's part of the way life is.
Yeah, and I really want to point out, Jake Kincaid and his team has been awesome helping us with that. They've done a lot of work down there and on top of everything that they're doing. So really appreciate Jake and Chris and Rick and Bill and everybody that went down there and Jim's leadership through it all too. It really worked out better than it could have been a lot worse. Let's just say that. So we're happy that it went.
I see you have a guest with you tonight. You want to?
I do,
Take a
yeah.
minute
If we
there.
want to get into that now. To my right, this is Gavin Ramsey. Gavin has been hired as our Assistant Director of Parks and Rec. And Gavin comes to us from Springfield, Missouri. So he has a little trip over to Illinois. And he's married to his wife, Lily. And Lily just got a job in Bloomington Normal area. So I think they're going to stay for a little bit, I hope. So Gavin's got a good background in fitness. And he's already been starting on a marketing plan. And he's been with us for a week, and he came back for the second week, so I guess that's a good thing. But we're really excited to have him. He's very talented, and we're looking forward to all the things that he's going to be able to help us with.
And
Glad-
he's in the middle of building our summer park program and getting that going.
He is, yeah. We just finalized the dates today, so I don't know if he wants to touch on any of that, but I'll pass him the mic.
Yeah, so our summer parks program will be July 10th through 14th and August 1st through 4th. And we're just getting the game plan going right now for the summer parks program, and it'll be a good event.
Well, we're glad to have you here and hope that you enjoy it. I met Gavin and his wife at the Ball Diamond the other night, and they were cheering on all the teams. They took me away from seeing my grandson score, but, that's okay. No, great. Glad you're here and hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, it comes to mayor's comments. Well, we do have need for executive session coming up, so the only comment I'd really like to make is if you didn't make it down, you missed one great play by the Vermillion players. The Beauty and the Beast was exceptional. Their crowds were phenomenal. I was at the band concert on Friday, and I was commenting about, gosh, there's not as many people here as normal. Well, That's because the park was full with Beauty and the Beast. But it was really exceptionally good, and I've had nothing but rave phone calls for 3 days about everything from costumes to music. It was exceptional. City council comments. Anything to bring up? Jim?
Sure, I got a couple things. And just to echo the mayor's Saturday, we had the concert Rockin' at the River, the Vermilion Players Show, and the car show downtown. And when I went by, the park was full. Downtown had quite a few people in it. And the park, I estimated roughly 250. Bob Carl said 300. So
We like
I don't know. Yeah, Liz said we go with Bob's number. So, but all very good. And one other thing that I felt was an interest of noting, we haven't had rain in a while. I did touch base with Illinois American on protocols on situations where it's really dry. They did. Him and I are going to get together and talk about that a little bit later. But the reservoir's full, and as of right now, Illinois American did not have any problems. But they do have a drought and dry weather plan. So.
Is there an update on the Stillwell building?
Oh, yes, and there is an update on the Stillwell building that there's contracts that are still at the attorney's office. Isn't that correct, Alan?
Well, as of Saturday morning, they were given to Becky, and they may possibly have been signed by now. They reviewed them. I talked to Ronnie Fellheimer both Friday and Saturday, and he had approved them, and they were going to circulate them for signatures. There were some minor issues with them that he had approved, and I haven't confirmed with Bill Abraham. He's one of them. It was Jason Dixon and Bill Abraham. Haven't confirmed whether they received them yet or not, but I did tell him he should be expecting them. So the completion date, I want to say they said 90 days, but I don't remember exactly.
Seems
September.
quick. That seems quick.
Yeah. Okay.
So there should be, hopefully they'll get under contract. And Mr. Abraham said that he'd be able to start the exterior type of work to get the problem that we see every day under control, probably quicker than Mr. Dixon would be able to do the interior work because of other job schedules. He thought within a couple of weeks, didn't he say, Dave? A couple of weeks he'd have it looking pretty good.
Good news. We need some good news on that front, too. Okay. Public comments. Any comments we want to make? Hearing none, we do have need of executive session. So we'll need a motion to go to executive session.
Just making sure Kelly's here.
Yeah. Motion by Scott, seconded by John Willie. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Give us about 3 or 4 minutes and we will begin the executive session. Thank you.
No action.